When we walk or run, our feet need to be able to absorb force from the ground as we land and move over that stance leg, and they also need to be able to produce force into the ground as we push off into our next step. And the way we do that push-off part of the movement determines much of how our feet, ankles, knees, and even our hips experience the loads of locomotion. Most people don't realize that they have an issue with the strength or control of this movement until they actually have it assessed, which is usually because they're experiencing some kind of pain or dysfunction in their feet or lower body. So whether that is the case for you, or if you just want to optimize your foot and ankle function to help you minimize the risk of pain and injuries, then doing some focused work on your calf raise movement is an absolute must, and that's what I'll be guiding you through in this video. So for our calf raise, we'll be setting up on a wall and facing both hands on the wall, upright to begin with. And all we're doing is coming up onto our toes as far as you can tolerate, nice and slowly. So that might mean that you just come up a little bit and go back down. Might just be a very small movement of your heels lifting off and down. Eventually what we're aiming for is full plantar flexion at the ankle, and obviously coming up into full toe extension at the top. And this is mimicking the position that we get in as we walk and push off the ground. So again, we're coming up, reach your position, your top position, and then slowly lower down with control, and then reset and go again. So if you're finding that you have sensitivity on the ball of your foot, then you could use a rolled up or folded up towel for cushioning. And over time, you could gradually reduce that cushioning. If you want to progress this, you can walk further away from the wall, try and maintain a straight body overall, and then this will just increase the range of motion. And increase the challenge. And obviously the further you walk away from the wall, the greater that effect will be. Over time, you could rebuild the exact same progression, but on one leg, like so. And whichever variation you're doing, it's important to note the movement of your feet will affect the load and the stimulus of the exercise. So one thing that a lot of people tend to do is to roll out onto their little toes, and this changes the position of their ankle and actually also avoids loading that big toe, which is exactly what we want to do through movement. So part of this calf raise is actually retraining our ability to load through that big toe, like so. And that might mean that you reduce your range of motion at first. So you might be able to get all the way up by rolling your feet out onto your little toes, but you can only go potentially halfway or 1/4 by loading your big toes. So just play in that range of motion for the purpose of this calf raise. Explore that range of motion that you can achieve by maintaining pressure and movement through the big toe on the way up. And that goes for the double leg version, through all of the progression in distance away from the wall, and of course for the single leg version as well. As a certain progression gets easy enough to do for 2 minutes in a row, then you would progress that distance away from the wall. And as I said, gradually reduce any cushioning that you are using. This tutorial is taken directly from our foot restoration program, which is a 12-week course that guides you through every step of the journey towards restoring natural foot function. So I highly recommend checking that out if you're struggling to make progress towards your foot health goals.